Thursday, April 19th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. I am meteorologist Matthew East, and after a cool, rainy day across much of the region yesterday, a different type of day today. We have a lot of clouds this morning, but in time, sunshine trying to work in. Kind of the forecast challenge today is how quickly do those clouds erode. That'll directly play a role on how warm we can get today. And then as we get into the weekend, our weekend storm system still set to move through, but some question marks. I'll spend some time talking about that in today's edition of the video. There's the radar this morning, and notice still some rain over eastern parts of North Carolina and southeastern Virginia, southern South Carolina. All that advancing eastward, though, and out of the region. And so you have this residual kind of wedge in place here across the western Carolinas up into the Virginias, and there's not a whole lot of forcing to really scour that out, so it's going to be a challenge to see how quickly these clouds erode away today. I think some afternoon sun and exactly how quickly the sun works in will determine how warm we can get today. Not a whole lot going on in the upper levels around the region today, but here comes the next storm system. This is the European model. By Saturday evening, there's the closed upper air low near the mouth of the Mississippi River. And we go out a little further in time. This is what it looks like by Monday morning. That piece of energy diving in is phased in some capacity with that upper level low. And the result here, that's again Monday morning. We go out to Tuesday afternoon, big upper low over the eastern parts of the country that finally, by the end of next work week on the European, moves on out. The system is much weaker on the GFS, though. Let me show you the GFS. And again, today we'll see the sun working in with time. Highs in the ballpark is 70, I think, in a lot of foothill and Piedmont spots. Tomorrow we'll be on up into the 70s, and we're going to go ahead and throw in the chance of a few afternoon showers and thunderstorms, kind of a moist setup, and as we combine that with the heating of the day, probably a few showers and storms developing. Now here's the setup, again on the GFS, Saturday early evening. You have this developing low down here in the Gulf of Mexico. Cold front right about there, and that cold front will kick off some areas of showers and thunderstorms around our region Saturday. And then Sunday's forecast depends entirely on what happens with that low. I mentioned the GFS. This is a much weaker type of system, kind of a broad low here from Florida to off the Carolina coast. And this is Sunday early afternoon. It is dry over the western Carolinas. And then we go on out a little bit further in time. That's how we look on Monday. Now let's compare this with how it looks on the European model. Here we are Sunday morning on the European. A little bit more of an intense low over Florida. And then we go out 6 more hours to early Sunday afternoon. And there's been a definite eastward shift in the axis of heaviest rain with the system in some recent modeling. But at least there is some rain around much of the Carolinas on the European on Sunday, although it gets pretty light in the western Carolinas. Then we go 6 hours later, and that low is slowly progressing north and east. So on the European, you have some heavy rain for the eastern half of North and South Carolina. The rain amounts really taper off the further west you go. Now again, comparing Monday behind the system, that's the GFS. That's the European. Much cooler look on the European because it's a much stronger system. So we'll see. The trend in the modeling here the last couple cycles has been for a lot of the heavier rain to be over eastern parts of the Carolinas Sunday as opposed to much of the Carolinas. And we will see if that trend continues as the models get a better handle on this weekend system. A couple final panels here. This is Tuesday on the GFS. Compare that to the European. Again, it's still a much cooler look on the European with that stronger eastern U.S. upper air low. So a lot of forecast uncertainty this weekend. There's going to be some showers and storms around, but it might turn out to be a little bit of a better forecast for at least portions of the region Sunday than it appeared it would be. We'll see how that coastal low develops on the modeling here over the next few cycles. All right, that is it for today. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful Thursday, and God bless.